I ask every nominee who comes before any of the committees on which I sit the following two initial questions that go to fitness to serve by the nominee. I'll ask you, Mr. Bovee, since you became a legal adult, have you made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
Welcome back to the channel, America Patriots. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button like you're ringing the Liberty Bell. Smash that like button like you're kicking socialism off your lawn. And drop a comment so the algorithm knows freedom still lives on this platform. Around here we defend truth, common sense, and the people who actually want to serve this country instead of rehearsed Twitter drama. Grab your coffee, your flag, your emotional support bald eagle, whatever you need, because today's video is a wild one.
Sure.
No.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement relating to this kind of conduct?
No.
In the February 23rd, 2025 report in Politico, the title was, quote, "Before he became Trump's bulldog, Emil Bovee was nearly demoted for bellicose management style," end quote. According to this article, which was put into the record, when you served as a unit chief at the Southern District of New York, and I'm again quoting this article, Mr. Bovee quickly garnered a reputation as a manager who was sharply critical of the people who worked for him and unable to control his anger. His conduct was abusive, according to one former member of the unit. Are you familiar with this article?
I am.
Okay. So going on, according to this article, in 2020 or early 2021, the executive committee of the U.S. Attorney's Office opened a formal inquiry into Bovee's management style. They interviewed prosecutors who worked for him about his behavior, and they decided that he should be removed from his role as a supervisor, end quote. Of course, you are aware of this inquiry and their recommendation.
As
Yes?
well as the fact
No?
that I was not removed.
Yes?
I was not removed, Senator.
Can you speak into the mic so we can all hear your answers, please?
I apologize. I was not removed, Senator.
I know you were not removed because the article goes on to say that when this committee decided to demote you and remove you, you pleaded with them to allow you to remain in your job, and you pledged that you would commit to improving your behavior. Did you do that? Did you request they not remove you? Did you plead that you not be removed and that you would change your behavior?
That
No.
characterization is not accurate, Senator.
So you did not change your behavior at all, or did you?
Senator, I'm not perfect, and so when I get constructive criticism,
Speak into the mic, please.
When I get constructive criticism, I absolutely take account of that and try and be better at my job. And I did that in that instance. But the characterization in that article by anonymous sources from a whisper campaign from SDNY alums is not accurate.
The fact of the matter is, though, this committee did talk to people who worked for you, and they concluded that you engaged in abusive behavior and that you should be removed, but you got to stay. And the article, you disagree with the characterization, but why would they go through all this trouble to investigate and all of that, and they let you stay? Unless, I hope that you had said, well, you would change your behavior. Because the attitude, the behavior of a judge, I think is, that is important for us to understand. During your time as a supervisor in the Southern District of New York, you supervised a team that prosecuted U.S. v. Alisator. You supervised them.
Yes.
And in that case, prosecutors failed to disclose evidence to the point where, even though there was a judgment of guilty, So it resulted in the jury's verdict being overturned and the charges dropped, and the district court wrote, which I think is pretty unusual, that there was, and I quote the district court, insufficient supervision. You acknowledged just now that you were the supervisor. Insufficient supervision of disclosure obligations by the USAO's unit chiefs. Do you recall the court making that assessment of your supervisory
I do,
capability?
Senator, and I respect Judge Nathan, and I think that what she was trying to accomplish in that decision was to make sure that there were protections in place.
Okay,
so that-
I am running out of time. I just wanted to do, you had said that the January 6 prosecutions were a grave injustice. So does that mean that you agreed with President Trump's pardon of all of the convicted felons?
I am not in a position as a nominee, Senator, to comment on any president's use of the pardon power, which is committed to presidents.
Once again, I should think that because you characterize those prosecutions as a grave injustice, I would think that you would be happy that the president pardoned everybody. Thank you.
Senator Hall.
Emil Bovee. Yes, Bovee, not Bowie. Let's get the man's name right. Is sitting there getting grilled like a Walmart hot dog that's been left on the roller since sunrise. And you know how these hearings go. They fire off a list of questions longer than a CVS receipt and expect the nominee to answer each one like they're taking an oath on a stack of declassified documents. First off, they hit him with a standard, "Have you ever done anything inappropriate?" questions. And Bovee sitting there like, "Nope." Next, let's move along. Simple, straight, clean. I respect that. You ask a man a yes or no question. He gives you a yes or no answer. That's the kind of efficiency Washington hasn't seen since the founding fathers were still deciding how many pockets a waistcoat needed. But then, oh boy, here comes a real show. They bring up this Politico article, which already tells you everything you need to know. Politico reporting on a Trump-aligned nominee? Yeah, color me shocked they found anonymous sources with concerns. These so-called sources apparently said Bovee was sharp, critical, angry, and abusive. Look, if you've ever had a boss who expects you to actually do your job, congratulations. You too have survived an abusive management style by DC standards. In the real world, we call it leadership. In Washington, they call it a crime against humanity. Then they say the office recommended he be removed. And Bovee's like, no, that's not what happened. And honestly, who am I going to believe? A guy sitting right there, under oath, answering into the mic like it's a hostage negotiation. Or anonymous former co-workers who probably got upset because he didn't offer enough gluten-free snack options at meetings. And the senators kept telling him to speak into the mic, folks. It's 2025. If we can't get a working mic in the United States Senate, how do we expect these people to handle literally anything more complicated than ordering takeout? They move on to this case that got overturned because of some disclosure issue, and the court said there was insufficient supervision. Now, let me tell you something. If every supervisor in America got fired because someone on their team made a mistake, Congress would be emptier than a vegan barbecue. The man took responsibility, acknowledged improvement. He did what grown adults do. You mess up, you fix it, you move on. But then comes the best part. They asked him about the January 6 prosecutions and whether he supports pardons. And Bovee gives a classic nominee answer, "I can't comment," which is a correct answer, unless you want your nomination sent straight to the recycle bin. Look, you want honest commentary? I'll give it to you. The senators were practically trying to bait him like he was a carp in a Midwestern lake. They want him to say something they can screenshot, misquote, and send out in a fundraising email labeled urgent. Democracy is ending again. But Bovee stayed calm, level-headed, professional. You know, exactly what you want from someone who's going to be making serious decisions. And by the way, his restraint alone should qualify him for the job. Because if someone questioned me for 10 minutes straight using an article from Politico as gospel truth, I'd have to request a brief recess to go do breathing exercises behind the Capitol. Anyway, folks, after watching this whole thing, here's my honest America Patriots opinion. Bovee handled himself with dignity. He stayed cool. He didn't get rattled. And if he really was a rage monster to try to paint him as, believe me, you would have seen it. The dude was calmer than a Sunday afternoon fishing trip. So if you love common sense commentary, if you want more breakdowns of Washington circus performances, if you want to keep America laughing and thinking at the same time, hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel. It helps the movement. And it helps me keep bringing you the truth with a side of comedy and a flag waving behind me spiritually at all times. Drop a comment. Was this hearing a real investigation, or was it just senators reading dramatic fanfiction written by anonymous SDNY alumni? I know what I think, but I want to hear you. Thanks for watching, America Patriots. Stay strong, stay loud, stay free. God bless America.